Sorry.
Problems in the provinces. ANC top structures warn members against solving political problems in court. Consumers frustrated with load shedding as Eskom, unions and government begin wage negotiations tomorrow. This is eNews at 8. I'm Sally Burdett. Good evening. Well, a little earlier this evening, the ANC National Executive Committee wrapped up its meeting. They have a number of challenges on their plate. Provincial problems in Gauteng, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape, plus they need to announce a new premier for the Northwest. Signs of tension spilled over outside the meeting venue in Tshwane today when unhappy members of the West Rand region demonstrated. To unpack where things stand currently, I'm joined by our political reporter, Aldrin Sampier, who's been watching the story today. Good evening, Aldrin. I understand the meeting wrapped at around 7 o'clock. Any word from that meeting?
Well, yes, the meeting has wrapped, and we understand that one of the decisions that we are looking forward to is a decision around the Northwest and who the premier would be. Now that has been deferred back to the NWC to decide what should happen going forth, and that meeting will be taking place. The announcement we expect maybe on Thursday, and it also seems that the ANC is racing against time because according to the Constitution, that vacancy needs to be filled within 30 days. Remember, it was the 23rd of May that Supremo Mapile announced his resignation or retirement, early retirement, and now that vacancy needs to be filled before the 23rd of this month.
We're looking at visuals there of protests outside St. George's Hotel. That was Gauteng unhappy members. Tell us what's going on in Gauteng.
Yes, so on the screen are members from the ANC in Gauteng, from the West Rand region. They've been raising issues around the ANC's dispute resolution processes, saying that the dispute resolution processes have been flawed. They've raised these issues with the Provincial Executive Committee, but they said they found no joy with the Provincial Executive Committee, and that's the reason why they were protesting outside the St. George's Hotel where the NEC meeting was taking place. And they got some joy because not only did the NEC listen to them, but the decision has now also been taken that all regional conferences in Gauteng must be postponed indefinitely.
Right, so we've looked at the Northwest, we've looked at Gauteng, we've got 3 other provinces with problems. Let's move on to the Eastern Cape and let's take a little listen. The chairman in the province, Oscar Maboyane, unhappy with the Ndebele report. Let's listen to what he said, then you can explain it to us.
There's no way that me and Comrade Phumulo will be then recommended to lead the province. Comrade Phumulo has been elected by the National Conference. He is now an NEC member, so there is no way that he will leave that responsibility and come back and lead the province. I'm the chairperson of the province, elected by the conference, which has now been recognized since March this year by the National Executive Committee. So there is no confusion there. People who continue confusing themselves and give false hope to some people, those are really unfortunate people. We are aware about certain elements within the organization, even up there, who are busy working to collapse, who are plotting the PEC.
Is that another story of disunity?
Well, certainly another story of disunity, because you can't just rubbish this report, because it was a report that was commissioned by the NEC. Although it was the NEC, the NEC under former President Jacob Zuma that commissioned this report. The report was only tabled, I think, earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. But a decision has been taken in terms of the recommendations that within 3 months after the report would have been tabled in the NEC, that the PEC must be disbanded and there must be a provincial conference to be held. And that hasn't happened. And that's why these members of the ANC want a rerun of the provincial conference and want this report to be adopted by the NEC.
Now, also the Free State, there are 28 branches going to court tomorrow. KwaZulu-Natal, 2 weeks ago, their elective conference was interdicted. What is going on in the ANC?
It's internal processes. Members of the ANC are not happy with the internal processes, so although the ANC has decided to set up what they call these internal dispute resolution subcommittees, it seems as though that the members of the party are not happy with that because the members who are part of this dispute resolution committees are sometimes people who are implicated in these allegations.
We're a year out from a general election. How serious is this for the party?
It is huge. This united party is not something which voters would be looking forward to, and saying that this is a party that I'll be voting for, especially when the party seems to be very indecisive when it comes to issues of internal structures, let alone governance.
My word, there's a lot to be thinking about for the ANC. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
That's our political reporter, Aldrin Sampear, giving us the latest on the ANC NEC meeting. It wrapped up a short while ago. The news from that is that by Thursday we should have the name of a Northwest Premier. Well, from political power to electrical power, we all want to know if Eskom can keep the lights on. Last week, protest action from disgruntled workers saw load shedding implemented for the first time since 2015. Consumers have been warned their lights may have to be switched off as recovery operations estimated to take up to 10 days. Eskom says it will have to raid its coffers in order to find the money to implement wage increases for this year. And negotiations between the power utility and unions are set to resume tomorrow. Marikana takes a look.
Consumers are still unsure about the status quo of electricity supply. Over the past few days, Eskom has delivered mixed messaging, changed schedules and unplanned outages, leaving people fuming.
I remember the other day, I did not iron my son's clothes and I had to wake up early that day. And when I wake up, guess what? It was dark.
They say the lights is going to go off 8 o'clock. It doesn't go off 8 o'clock. It goes off 11 o'clock. Then it stays off for 3 days. I mean, we can't live like that.
Negotiations to end the wage dispute between the power utility and its employees are set to run for at least the next 3 days.
There is going to be some kind of money coming through, but as to where it will come through, clearly it's a matter that I'm sure in due course the minister, either the minister or the board and management of Eskom will make pronouncements on that particular matter.
Unions are demanding a 15% wage increase, but say they will approach the negotiations with an open mind.
At the moment, we can't make a concession until Eskom give us a new offer that they've been mandated by the Eskom board and the Minister of Public Enterprises.
It remains to be seen where the power utility will get the money to implement wage increases for this year and whether a deal will be struck. What we do know is that the country's power system remains vulnerable, with load shedding becoming a grim reality. Masigan, Johannesburg.
We move now to Cape Town. There was a cash and transit heist this morning. It's now to be investigated by police at a national level. This morning's incident is the latest in a string of over 100 heists that have been happening around the country this year. Atim Tongana was at the scene at Jakes Gerwel Drive.
Police are at their final stages here at the scene, just trying to gather all the necessary evidence and the information surrounding this heist on Jakes Gerwel Drive. Matters proved to be quite difficult in that the weather was blowing the notes that were still strewn on the road. However, they've managed to collect all the notes surrounding the area and they've put it in bags for collection for evidence. There are CCTV cameras on this road, which will also be helpful for police in trying to determine exactly how this incident happened. There are unconfirmed reports that the G4S security company vehicle was bombed. There's also unconfirmed reports of shots that were fired earlier on. Police are yet to confirm whether or not the security personnel driving the security company car carrying the money were injured or not. There is a BMW vehicle parked next to it, as well as a Spar truck and another one next to it. Both of them are still stationed and parked close to the security company, and police still need to confirm exactly how these other vehicles parked close to it are connected to the incident that happened earlier this morning. No arrests have yet been made at this stage. Onlookers were out in their numbers trying to see what happened this morning. They were hoping to obviously catch some of the notes that were being blown away by the wind. However, the police have collected all the notes around the area and will put it away for safekeeping for evidence. Tim Tongana, Cape Town.
Nearly 6 years on, the Marikana massacre wound is still open. Today, high-ranking police officers implicated in the killings appeared in court. The officers, including a former top cop in the province, William Mpembe, also faced charges of defeating the ends of justice. They're accused of allegedly misleading the Farlam Commission. Reporter Leranzo Temba has more on this story.
Set on laying their eyes on the officers charged with the deaths of their co-workers, killed for their demand for a 12,500 rand pay. They once stood side by side in the line of duty. Now they stand together in the dark for their roles in the tragedy that hit the Platinum Belt in 2012. Accused number 1 is former Provincial Police Commissioner General William Pembe. He faces charges related to the 13th of August when 5 people, including 2 police officers, were killed. Mpembe and 3 others face 4 counts of murder and 6 of attempted murder. The former top cop and 5 others are also accused of giving false evidence at the Farlam Commission. They allegedly lied about the death of a minor whose body was found at the back of a police van. The 9 officers are due back in the dock on the 14th of September for a way forward so that their trial can start. But this development is yet another hurdle for the families of the deceased miners who've been waiting for justice for 6 years and counting.
What we want is a conviction and then adequate sentencing. So we have advised them that it's going to be a lengthy process, but we're hopeful that by next year maybe there'll be a trial that's starting.
While families hope they find closure, these miners are not sold.
But that's what I'm going to 9 team. I'm going to more than I'm going 9. But I'm talking 9. If you know, say born and I'm as I born going in Silesia, Jangaban Balap, I born the 9, but Galibon and
The Independent Police Investigative Directorate has not ruled out more arrests. Lorenzo Temba in the Northwest.
Still ahead on eNews.
When we say Nelson Mandela is open for business, the last thing that we want is a filthy city.
The Windy City or the Filthy City? Litter piles up in PE as the municipal workers' strike continues. The Windy City is fast becoming the Filthy City. The municipal workers' strike in Port Elizabeth looks set to continue. Municipal officials say they have to wait for the mayoral committee to sign off on a new long-service bonus offer on Wednesday. Reporter Sandy McCowan has the latest on the stalemate.
As the municipal workers' strike enters its 5th day, refuse is piling up on the streets, with discarded bags lining almost every curb. Some residents are taking matters into their own hands.
Le nto yesi-strike isisokolisa kakhulu ngoba le nkukhu manje ngibina 5 days nje ilapha ngaphandle, so ngoku umoya uyifaka ngaphakathi uyayivuthela uyifake ngaphakathi phinde kungcole kakhona ngaphakathi, so that's why ngoku cleaner apha ngaphandle.
While the municipality works on a contingency plan, they are calling on all residents to take their refuse to a waste centre.
When we say Nelson Mandela is open for business, the last thing that we want is a filthy city. So we are trying to have trucks going out every day to do sections of the metro as best as we can. They are being accompanied by security and metro police.
But there seems to be no quick solution. The municipality says they can't afford to pay 75 million rand back pay in long service bonuses.
If they feel to drag the matter, it's up to them. We are on an indefinite strike as SAMU. Whether they resolve now or later, it's in their interest. We are going to toy until we get what we want.
Officials say a final offer will be decided on at the mayoral committee meeting on Wednesday and then given to the unions to peruse. Until then, residents will have to clean up after themselves. Sandy McCowan, Port Elizabeth.
Liberty Holdings says information stolen from its systems will not affect customers financially. The JSE-listed company has acknowledged that its IT systems were breached. The company says they will not, however, be held to ransom. Strong message following the cyber attack. Concerns that client information may have been compromised. A reassurance this evening that the information has not been. But of course, the incident is reminding South Africans just how vulnerable companies and individuals can be in this digital age. And it seems the message is you can never be too paranoid. Michael Apple reports.
Liberty's chief executive, David Monroe, says they're not going to disclose how much the hackers want and says they'll continue to work with a crack team to investigate the data breach. Meanwhile, Stuff Magazine's editor says there's definitely cause for concern here. From a single emailed Liberty statement, the hackers could potentially have access to your name, your ID number, your telephone number, your residential address.
South Africans are simply unaware of how dangerous this kind of information about us is. And of course, when a bank phones you to verify who you are, they generally ask you, what's your name, what's your date of birth, what's your phone number, and what's your email address. You can get most of that from most people's Facebook profiles.
Yeah.
We need to be more paranoid.
Ensuring that our personal information is responsibly stored and handled is the work of the partially established information regulator. If the Protection of Personal Information Act was fully enacted, which it's not, Liberty could have faced a fine of up to 10 million rand.
In terms of the Protection of Personal Information Act, in short, POPIA, it would definitely then constitute a contravention of the Act.
This industry expert says cyber attacks have really become a case of when and not if.
You have to be organized and be able to deal with the fact that it's going to happen at certain times. Data and people data and client data has become a massive demand out there in terms of the dark web.
Organizations are obligated to protect our information, yes, but so are you. Change your passwords regularly and never post your personal information on social media. Michael Apple, Johannesburg.
Let's recap your top stories this evening. Problems in the provinces. ANC top structures warn members against solving political problems in court. And the news from the meeting which has wrapped earlier is the Northwest is expected to announce a new premier candidate by Thursday. And consumers frustrated with load shedding as Eskom and the unions and government begin wage negotiations tomorrow. So ahead on eNews, we have all your weather details. And then it wouldn't be the FIFA World Cup without an animal trying to predict the outcome of the match. Russia is no different with Spartak, the lemur.
Welcome to the Weather Center. We have two cold fronts that are going to be sweeping across western and southern South Africa over the next 24 or so hours. And we are going to start off Tuesday with lots of cloud across much of the Northern Cape and quite a bit of fog along the west coast, as well as rain showers for the southwestern areas of South Africa. Then later on in the day, it's going to become partly cloudy for the Northern Cape. We will stay with a few sprinkles of rain around the Cape Peninsula. In the meantime, it's going to be sunny for the eastern areas with pretty warm daytime temperatures across the eastern provinces. Then towards the evening, a bit of fog can be expected again along parts of the west coast, and we will see rain showers setting in along the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal. Now we are going to start off the day with cloudy skies on Tuesday for much of the Northern Cape, becoming partly cloudy in the afternoon. It will stay chilly for the western and southern areas, mostly sunny and mild for Postmasburg and Kimberley. Light rain showers are forecast for the western areas of the Western Cape, Cape Town and Langaban, both peaking at around 16 degrees. It's going to be mostly sunny and mild across much of the Eastern Cape interior, partly cloudy, however, in the afternoon along the east coast. We are expecting late afternoon light rain around Port Shepstone and Durban. It's going to be mostly sunny and pretty warm for the northeastern parts of the KwaZulu-Natal province. Clear skies are forecast across Mpumalanga, hot for Mbombela and Skukuza, where highs in the lower to mid-30s are expected. It will also be pretty hot for the Limpopo-Lowveld areas, a pleasant 26 for the high in Polokwane, with sunny weather forecast across Limpopo. Sunny skies are also forecast across the northwest, where top temperatures in the mid to upper 20s are forecast on Tuesday afternoon. It's also going to be fine across the Free State with mild to warm daytime temperatures, Velcom making it to 24 degrees in the afternoon. A sunny and pleasantly warm day is forecast for much of Gauteng, Pretoria, reaching a high of around 25 degrees. Now on Wednesday, we are going to have sunny skies across much of South Africa. It will be cloudy and rainy, however, across much of KwaZulu-Natal. Then on Thursday, rainy weather returns to Cape Town and sunny skies are forecast for the rest of the country.
Finally, what would a FIFA World Cup be without an animal trying to predict the outcome of the matches being played? In 2010, Paul the Octopus shot to global fame by correctly predicting the winners of 11 out of 13 matches. Now, Spartak, a 7-year-old male ring-tailed lemur, is predicting that host Russia will beat Egypt tomorrow. Not good news for French fans. Spartak's also predicting Peru will pull off a shock defeat of the French. According to his keeper, Spartak eats food of the team he thinks will lose. Last week successfully suggesting Russia would beat Saudi Arabia. I wonder if Spartak's eating croissants.